I'm sure you answered it for other guys. Did you have a bike issue in the second race there? Can you walk us through that?
I had a bike issue towards the end of the second moto. It was cutting out a bit. We had a similar issue at Thunder Valley, and not in the second moto. I think he's got a sense on what the heck's going on, so I think it's getting sorted out, but unfortunate circumstance, and maybe cost me the podium on the day.
I'll say you've been riding so well, and obviously, like, I think Hangtown, you were up there, like, pushing, trying to get a podium spot. You had the big crash. Like, the results, you're getting better, but the results, like, may not show it. Do you feel like that's the case? And I guess, how do you manage that? And I know it's kind of rebuilding, and I'm sure you heard that, and you're kind of like, yeah, like, you kind of want to move on from that. But, like, what's it like to walk?
The thing is, it is still rebuilding, and it's exciting because I almost got the podium, and I'm still rebuilding, you know? So what is the limit? What's the ceiling? And we're going to find out, because I'm not going to stop building. So a lot of positives take from it. It's been difficult to have some of these bike issues, have some of these little crashes. I was sick. I threw up after Thunder Valley. I was so weak the next week. I barely rode. I rode like a warm-up, and I was like, I'm too weak. I like shouldn't be out here. And I probably shouldn't have even raced High Point. Certainly had an electrolyte deficiency, but yeah, I raced High Point and scored a couple points. So it's just been some challenging times, and makes it harder when you're trying to secure a contract for next year. Mm-hmm. But I'm committed to the work regardless, and staying positive. I know my riding's good. This week we put some extra work in on the starts, and it showed. And we're going to go back and do the same, you know, this week, and continue to try to ride up front. So I think if I can start up front, I think all of these finishes are going to, you know, start falling in line. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like your technique's good. Okay, let's start here. I feel like a couple years ago when you were at, like, I guess the top of your game, you won a moto at Hangtown, like podium guy, won a Supercross race. I feel like you were underrated then, and now when you're rebuilding, like, you're still underrated. Like, the fitness is good. You're charging late the races. Like you said, some crashes, but it's like qualifying was good today. Like, do you feel like, can you even compare, like, yourself now to 2022, or is it so different?
I'm so much better. I'm so much better now than I was in 2022. And that's, like, as a man and as an athlete. And you could argue maybe I had more top-end speed at that time, and, you know, you can make different arguments, but it's like that guy, it was not sustainable. Like, the emotional toll of the races, the ups and downs, I didn't have the mental fortitude to deal with it. So when stuff went awry, it just spiraled. And now I feel like I'm so much better able to handle dynamics, good races, bad races, and just to be able to handle all the races. And so I think that in that sense, I'm so much better off than I used to be, so much more mature. And even just on a personal level, I've grown a lot and have just a way more solid foundation. So, yeah.
And obviously it sucks that you were off the bike like you were. You almost, you know, everybody always talks about you almost retired. Is that, like, and there's life changes, there's team changes, like, I'm sure you can pinpoint a couple different things, but, like, what's the biggest thing that has been, like, is it you just growing up mentally and understanding, hey, this is, your life's different now? Is it a time off the bike that when you got back on, it's different? Like, is there a thing you can pinpoint to it? Or?
I've done a lot of therapy. My performance coach, Filippo Barbieri, the decision I made towards the end of my time at Gas, and a lot of people doubted and had different, you know, thoughts of how it was going to go, and it just became a non-negotiable for me to work with him, and from that aspect, there's, like, so much work that goes on behind the scenes, and so much of it's like I don't know, cutting edge. Like, he develops like from a science perspective, all the workouts, everything, how it needs to work out, and then the guy also, he's a neuroscientist and an exercise scientist with, like, 20 years of experience doing, like, therapy, like trauma therapy. And so I've just done a lot of hard work with him, a lot of days, a lot of tears, to go through all the past and realize that I'm stronger because of it, and like because of the stuff that I've worked through in my personal life and overcome, that's where I derive my strength from now, where it's like, okay, I have the mental toughness. I've been through that. Like, I relived all that. I made it through that. I'm still here. I'm still fighting. And that was like the big deal of why to continue. It wasn't all, you know, it wasn't all just like scared of getting re-injured. There's another sense of it is, do I have what it takes to like rebuild? And it would have been way easier for me from a life perspective to retire. Mm-hmm. Way easier. Like, retirement is like working a real job. I know it's freaking hard. Like, but from a mental challenge standpoint, to like overcome all of that and to rebuild and to choose the harder path because it's the right thing to do. Because if I would have given up on myself then and not followed through to see what can I be, then I would set myself up to give up on myself at first chance every time for the rest of my life. And that's just not something I was willing to do. And so I chose the harder path. I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to do the work every day that no one sees and see where we can go. And now it's starting to show on the track. And my confidence is starting to, you know, get better. My feel is starting to get better. I mean, when you take time off, like, you know, you don't just hit a Supercross triple and, you know,
you're back.
You have to think about it, you know? Yeah. You don't, like, you have to think about what speed to hit the quad, you know? Whereas when you're in rhythm and you're racing and you're healthy, you're not taking time off, all that stuff is, like, ingrained in you. And so with so much time off, all that had to be relearned, you know? How do you think on the starts, you know? And there's a lot of guys that are trying to rebuild right now, and you know, I'm not going to be the first, I'm not going to be the last, but we're going to do the best we can, and that's all we can do.
All right, 2 ones to finish off because I know you want to get going here. So you mentioned like you feel like you missed out on a podium today. Obviously, you're probably bummed, but happy at the same time. Like you mentioned, in your rebuilding year. Like, say this happens 3 years ago. Like, are you leaving the track in a way different mood? Like, are you pissed off leaving? Are you upset? Like, walk me through just like that emotion leaving the track then, if that's what happened, versus now when you're like just how the different it is.
I would be like on edge. Like I would be maybe a little down on myself. Be like, oh, yeah, you know, and not have a positive attitude about it. If, you know, the team, someone said something that was like, oh, you know, I wouldn't have listened well. I wouldn't have absorbed it. I would have just deflected it. And I wouldn't have taken responsibility for my mistakes. I would have felt like people were attacking me when they're just trying to help me. And I would have pushed people away and then felt like, I felt isolated, and then you know, it takes the fun out of it. And now it's like I'm just way more mentally strong. So I mean, Bobby Reagan told me I should retire at High Point. I'm fine. Like, you know, like I'm committed to the program and committed to. You know, I believe in myself and I believe in what I'm doing, and so I'm going to stay the course. And you know, if he wants to keep me around, that's awesome. And if someone else, you know, sees the opportunity, that's awesome too.
When you said that, was he trying to fire you up, or did he like what do you mean by that?
He told me, it's the second time he's told me to retire this year. He told me to retire and I should go work for my dad. So,
all right.
Yeah, I think that's Bobby Reagan. Like his dad was really successful, and he took over the business, and that's like been a huge blessing in his life, obviously. And then he's worked his butt off, and you know, probably multiplied and, you know, freaking crushed it as a businessman. And so I think that we have a fairly good relationship, and
it's not because he doesn't like you.
He wants the same thing for me.
It's not because he doesn't like you, and he's like, get off my team.
No,
okay.
No, it's not that. I mean, but also, I mean, probably trying to fire me up a little bit. You know, the guy's smart. You know,
yeah.
Some people say he's old and doesn't know what he's talking about, but I think he's dang smart.